Welcome, welcome, welcome to Leadershipisation, all things leadership. My name is Beth Bergen and I'm a global leadership and communication coach. What I do is I work with executives, with managers and with business owners, and it's all about building influence. And I do that, through building powerful leadership and communication skills so that they're able to lead really cohesive teams, they're able to drive results, but they also can increase their own visibility in their industry and in their organisation. Wait a minute, I have to cough again. Oh, excuse me. This is the problem with going live, really, isn't it? I'm here most Tuesdays live at 1 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. That's Queensland, Brisbane time, which is 2 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time, Melbourne and Sydney. And it's actually 11 a.m. in Bali, which is where I'm coming from today. So it's that time of year again. It's almost the end. It's almost the end. We're almost to the end of the year. And we feel like we're near the finish line, except that the finish line keeps moving away. Yeah, it keeps moving. So we're all tired, and it all seems like all the time there's more to do as a leader because we're trying to hold it all together. I want to share this news flash with you. You can't lead from an empty tank. You can't lead from an empty tank. And what we know is that at this time of year, people are more likely to suffer from burnout. And the interesting thing about burnout is that it's not always this big dramatic bang. It's not always, hey, I seriously hit the wall. It's often us as individuals pushing through. It's often us trying to be really efficient. It's often us saying, I'm fine, I'm good. But underneath, we're actually fading away. So today, what I want to do is look at what is it that burnout really looks like for leaders? Why is this time of the year when it's so common? And what can you do to be noticing it early so that you can reset yourself and finish the year without feeling like you're running out of energy? I want you to be able to finish the year really strong. So there are 8 key topic areas that we're going to have a look at today. The first one is this: why is it that burnout peaks right now? Well, it's really interesting because quite suddenly we're at the end of the year. We've had October, it's the 4th of November. There's more time pressure. We're weeks away from the end of the year. So there's that end of the year rush that we will experience where suddenly everyone wants to get projects finished by the end of the year. There's this desire to also finish the year strongly. Also, at this time of the year, we've got a lot of decision fatigue. How many more decisions do I actually have to be making here? I've made enough. I just want to coast my way to the end of the year. And sometimes that just doesn't happen because there's also this almost an invisible pressure that's on you. Not only are you expected or placing the expectation on yourself that you finish 2025 really strong, you're also looking to plan for 2026. And there are lots of different scenarios to consider as a direct result of that. Now, you add on top of that personal pressures, things that might be going on in your life. If you have someone who's finishing their schooling, whatever level your children might be at or relatives might be at, there are those end of year functions that we need to be attending. There's also that figuring out what we're going to do about the whole Christmas thing from a family perspective. So be aware that this is the time of year Most everybody else is tired, most everybody else is feeling it. But for leaders, there can be those additional pressures. There's also this thing around the myth of the finish line. How many times have you actually said, I'll rest when this is over, I'll rest when I've done this? I'm sure all of you have said that, just as I have. And the trap that we have when we're focused on the finishing line is that line always moves. That line is always going to move. Now, this really comes down to being able to determine the difference between what's urgent and what's important. Now, some things are urgent and important. However, because we're being notified of people's needs by messaging, whether it's a Teams chat, whether it's a text message or an email, because we are available for an awful lot longer and more accessible, urgent often starts to feel essential. We start to be reactive. We're busy being reactive. I need to deal with this latest request. I need to deal with this message. I need to deal with this email. And very quickly, that can become a way of working. And if it becomes a way of working, then we get stuck into that. We get absolutely stuck. We think that we've got to be on the go, on the go, on the go all the time. Why? Because it actually makes us feel quite important. We're doing stuff all the time. We're responding. And actually what we're doing is reacting. Now, there are some early warning signs about burnout, and these are the things that we can easily miss. What sort of things do I mean? Maybe it's that you're getting really irritable. Maybe you become quite cynical about things. So there's a lot of cynicism coming into what you're saying. Maybe you're forgetful. I know for many years, whenever I'm really tired, one of the clear signals to me is that I forget words. I can tell you, I might want a pen and I can see the pen, but I don't remember what it's called. I remember, though, it's that implement that you use for writing. So I'll be saying, well, can you pass me the implement you use for writing? And that's a clear sign to me that I need to slow down a bit. We can also become quite numb emotionally. And when we're quite numb emotionally, it's not good for us. That's when burnout is really starting to take hold. It's not always about us being really broken. It's not always about us falling apart. It can simply be that we're way too busy. So what I want to encourage you to do is to examine yourself, your own behaviours. Look closely at these behaviours of yourself and of your team. Because a clear indicator is what's going on in your nervous system. This is a really great leadership barometer. You can't lead when you're fried or you're cooked or you've hit the wall. It just doesn't happen. So what's important is that you listen to what your nervous system is telling you. Learn to read those signals that your body puts out. How, are you more tense? Are your shoulders all scrunched up? Is it difficult for you to totally relax? Is your breathing more shallow? Are you talking all the time about being more fatigued? It's that unexplained fatigue, like I'm sleeping heaps, but I'm not getting any fresher. All of these things are information for you. This is all data. It's not weaknesses. It's not, oh my goodness, it doesn't matter how much sleep I get, I can't feel not tired. They're not weaknesses. It's data. And once you've started to notice what you're noticing and you're getting that data, you're going to be able to work with that data. Like, you're going to be able to then make some decisions based on it. Because we get stuck, excuse me, we get stuck in that whole productivity trap. This is all about, um, how to put this. Have you ever said things like this? I'll just do this one more thing and then I'll go. I'll just do this and that'll be enough. Yeah? Me too. Me too. And what this does is it actually fuels your burnout because this mindset of I'll just do one more thing all the time, it's not useful. You must think about changing your mindset so that what you do is shift it to energy management rather than time management, because that energy management right now for you in November and December is going to be more sustainable. It will support your recovery. So don't get caught up in thinking, I've got to do more, I've got to do more, I've got to do more. Start to think about the signals that your body is giving you and the fact that you do need to slow down. This is all about, like, a lot of my clients say to me, well, how do I slow down? I don't have another holiday for 8 more months. Like I've got to do something right now. And this is where what I recommend is a series of micro recovery moments. And what I want you to think about doing here is, instead of going, I'm cooked and I'm 6 months away from a holiday, start to think about what can I build into every single day. And one of the great things to do is to book in some 3-minute resets. What am I doing? Oh, okay, a 3-minute reset. Stop. Step outside. Now, I know that's not always possible, but move away from where it is that you work. Start to breathe deeply. Move some of your body around a bit, moving your arms around, shaking your legs out, getting some of that tension, like this kind of thing, getting some of that tension out of it. Just move and just reflect for a moment on what you might already have achieved today, or reflect on something really peaceful. Just do that for 3 to 4 minutes. If you can do that a couple of times during the day, then you'll really notice the difference, like especially just flicking that tension out of your hands, your arms and your legs. Now, if that's not possible, then just pause and think some intentional thoughts. That will be really useful for you. One of the things that happens when we get burnout is that we actually start to disconnect. We disconnect from ourselves, we disconnect from other people, and we disconnect from our purpose. What are we here to do? We disconnect from that harmony in our lives. And what I know is that burnout absolutely thrives on that disconnection. And because burnout thrives on disconnection, it's like a vicious cycle. So what I want you to make sure of is that that connection with yourself, that connection with, what is my purpose? What am I here for? What is my role and what is my responsibility here? And really importantly, that connection with other people, this must be your priority. And what I love here is that reflection becomes a really powerful tool. And now is an ideal time for you to actually start reflecting. It's a great time for you to start at your end of the year reflection, thinking about what is it that mattered most all year? What have I actually achieved? And what behaviours, what people, what habits, what behaviours, what will I leave behind, and then what will I actually carry forward. Now, I've got an awesome and this has just popped into my mind, so we won't have any kind of link underneath for it, but if you'd like it, reach out. I've got a really great reflection tool which takes you through a number of questions to ask on a daily basis, a weekly basis, a monthly basis, and I think it's 6 months, but definitely 12 months. And the questions just kind of build on each other so that what you're doing is building that habit of reflecting. Finally, recovery is a real leadership skill. Recognizing that, hey, maybe I'm close to burnout and what can I do to prevent it from happening? Or recognizing that I am burnt out, they're great things to have. But what's important is that you actually recover. And what we want you to do is to be able to rebuild yourself rather than bouncing hard. You know, like that bouncing up and down, potentially you're doing that without necessarily dealing with what any of the real issues are. So what I'd like you to think about here, and what I recommend, is that you set some boundaries. Now, we've talked about boundaries a whole lot. They're an important leadership intelligence tool. So set those boundaries and make sure that as part of those boundaries, what you're prepared to do is to say no, but also to actually ask for help. So don't have this feeling that I've got to do everything by myself. I want you also to make sure that you've got room to move, room to breathe, that you're not feeling like you're under pressure all of the time. Build that sense of belonging, build that sense of purpose by connecting back to yourself, back to your community, back to your workmates, back to your friends and family. Because if what you can be doing is modeling that time out, modeling taking that time away, and also modeling reflection as a team norm, that's going to be awesome for you and for your team moving forward. So it's likely to prevent any or to minimise. It may not fully prevent, but it will certainly minimise the burnout from happening. So some things for you to reflect on. Now, these are really important questions that I've chosen so that you can start to build that skill of reflection. The first one is, what stories do you tell yourself that keep you from resting? What stories do you tell yourself that keep you from resting? And this is that good old, oh, slow down when, or they need me, they can't do without me. So that's the first one. The second reflection question is this one. You'll notice these are going along the bottom of the screen so that you can write them down if I speak too quickly. What's one sign that you're heading towards overload? And how could you intervene sooner next time? Now, I shared with you before, one of my signs is I forget plain, simple words that I should fully remember. I forget them. And so what I know is I need to up my exercise, up my relaxation, and make sure that I'm maintaining constant sleep. The third one is this. What would recovery look like if it was built into your leadership and not saved for that crash or I've hit the wall? Yeah? So what would it look like? And it would be those regular timeouts. It would be taking, every sixth Friday or Monday off to give yourself a bit of a break. I'm not sure what it would look like for you. For me, at the moment, what it looks like is I'm working for a couple of hours every morning, like 3 hours maximum, over a period of 2 weeks. And I'm taking the rest of the day out, and it's me time, it's self-care. I've had an awful lot of massages, which is great. I love it. So, summarize. Burnout is a slow leak. It's not something that's happening really quickly. And the more you can be aware of it, the more likely you are to prevent it. But those micro recovery those small pauses and all that kind of thing, plus boundaries, is really, really important. So don't set yourself up for really exhausted holidays. No one wants to go on holiday and spend the whole time exhausted. You really want to go and enjoy yourself. So also trust yourself to know. You've got to have that self-trust, set those boundaries and be prepared to ask for help. Okay, thank you so much. If you've got any questions or comments, put them on the platform that you're looking at, that you're watching this on. Hashtag replay if you're watching a replay. Now, it's my birthday month. Not my birthday today, it's my birthday month. 365 Days of Growth is a program that I've spoken about before, which is where you receive daily emails from me, daily motivational emails from me, often exactly what you needed to hear on that particular day. Now, because it is my birthday month, because November, I keep getting that wrong, because November is my birthday month, I've reduced the cost of that to sign up for a full year, 365 Days of Growth. I've reduced that to 97 Australian dollars. So check after this and you'll see that the link will be in the comments underneath. In the meantime, have an awesome first week of November. There's all sorts of things going on all over the world because it's November. Today in Australia, it's Melbourne Cup Day, which kind of stops the whole country. Thank you. I'll see you next week. Bye now.